In this video, we are going to talk about file input and output in Python. First off is reading text files. The first thing here is just the standard process that you have to go through. Number one is open the text file. Number two, read from the text file. And then three, close the text file. So that's just the usual set of steps that you have to go through. Okay. So opening the text file is done with this statement right here. You have the with keyword and then the open function. Inside the open function, you have the path to your file that you want to open, your text file. In these examples, I just have it in the same file with the code itself. You don't have to do that. You can have the path here or get the path to that, but I'm just not going to talk about that at the moment. So, all right, and then the as keyword, and then here is a name. You choose this name. It's a variable name, okay, and then a colon. All right. And so that's sort of the header that you use to open the file. It sets up this variable, my file, and then you can use some of the functions associated with a file objects. All right, so the open function returns the file object that's stored in this variable, my file. All right, and then there's some methods that you can use in the file object. Or functions, I guess, is referring to them now. So read, the read function will read the entire contents of the file into a variable. Okay, so that reads the entire file, puts it in the variable. One nice thing about using this with statement is that the with statement will take care of the closing of the file, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so you would have this header here. That sets up opening the file, stores it in this variable. Here I'm using the read function, right? So it's my file dot read, and that will read the entire contents of the text file, put it in this contents file here. Okay. Okay. All right. So the read function we already talked about, that reads the entire file into a variable. You can use the read line function that reads a single line at a time into a variable. If you're going to read the text file line by line, then what you would need to do is to use a for loop. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at this read file example that we have. So here I have a text file called sometext.txt. Right. So there's what that file looks like. All right, and here I am opening up the text file and then I'm using the read method, right? So the variable is f, that's the file object, and then I'm doing read. That will read the entire contents of the file and put it in this whole file, and then I'm going to print that out so you can see the result of that is this right here. So it just reads the whole file in and then prints it out. Here in the and so as soon as we got to line 3 here, the file object was closed because of the with statement right here. So you'll notice that this stuff after the with is indented. So as soon as all of those statements that are in this block with the with file are done, it will close that file back up. All right, and then we open it back up again as f, that's the file object. Here we're using read line. That will read one single line of the file, right? And then we get out of that block, so the file is closed automatically because we use the with, and then it prints the line that we read, and you can see that's that first line of the text file here. All right, so that's the result of that. All right, then in this last example here, we open up the text file, the text file again with the with, and we again stored it in the variable f. That gives us a file object. And then here we are reading or iterating over the lines in the file line by line. So you would use a for loop to do that. All right, and it's really a simple syntax, as Python, a lot of things in Python are. All you would have to do is say for line in the file object, right? Whatever variable you used here, and then do whatever it is that you need to do in the for loop body. That results in this, printing it out line by line. The reason why this is printed double spaced is because if you look at the text file, there's some line endings here at the end of this line that kind of make it go down to the next line. So we're getting those line endings that we're reading those, and then another one when we have the print statement, it goes to the next line. So that's kind of why we're getting that double spaced look down here, where we were not getting that up here. All right, so you can see that's really all there is to the basic reading of text files. Again, pretty nice, clean syntax. All right. All right, so in this first example, what we want to do, it says write a program that reads the text file emails in text.txt and extracts and prints all of the email addresses in the text file. Okay, so let's take a look at that. All right, so here is the text file. And you can see interspersed in this text file are some email addresses in there. Okay. So what I want to do is just go over this thing line by line, right, and extract all the email addresses that are in there. Okay. All right, so open up a new. All right, and so it's with open, and the name of our file is emails in text.txt. And we can see that text file that we're trying to read is in here, so there's no need to put any different path or in there. Okay. All right, so we're just going to go line by line, although we don't really have to do it that way. All right, and so there you can see we are now printing out, right, every line that's in this text file here. So you can see those get printed out. All right, so that's not really what we want to do. What we want to do is to look at each of these lines, right, and extract any emails that are inside there. All right, so one way to do that is with the split function. And what that's going to do is split those lines up. So you can see this is what I was getting before. Say on the first line was this first line right here. So if I scroll down and look at the result with split, you can see what I get is a list. And that line has been split, right, across all of the spaces in there. So it split it up into all of the words and across the spaces in there. All right, so now what I have is a list, okay, of words basically, okay. So I don't really want to split that out. I want to go over each of those words and look at it. Hey, is this an email address? Is this an email address? Is this an email address, right? And so on and so forth. All right, so for every time I read one of these lines, I'm going to get this list of words from the dot split like that. And emails, right, don't have spaces, right, in there. You can't have a space in an email name. So now it's a matter of just processing this list, right? For each time I go through here, I get a list. And so I'm going to create another for loop, right? For word in words. And then what I want to do is to look at these, right? An email has, well, at the very least, right, an @ symbol and a dot symbol right inside there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say if word, in Python it would be if the @ symbol is in word and the period is in word, then what I want to do is to print the word. Okay. All right, and let's run that. And there we go. We've extracted all of the emails, right, from that text. And now, you know, we could get something that wasn't an email out of this, but there's a lot more sophisticated pattern matchings that you can do with regular expressions in Python, but that's kind of beyond the scope of what we're doing here. This is good enough for what we want to do, and I think that is everything that we wanted to do there. Prints all of the email addresses in the text file. Okay, so that's it. All right, next up is writing text files. All right, so what you want to do is basically the same process that we go through for reading text files, except we're going to open the text file, and in this case, for writing, there's basically two ways you can do that. There's writing or appending. You'll see when we write a file, it's going to overwrite whatever was in that file previously. Or if we append, it's going to add to the file. Okay, so writing means any file, if the file exists and any contents of it are going to be overwritten. If you append, right, then the contents will, whatever you're adding to it, will be after what's already there, if there is anything. Okay, so we're going to open it, then write or append, right, and then close. All right, so the syntax is almost identical to the reading. The only thing is for writing, right, if you want to write, then you need to attach this little W string, right, for writing, and for appending it's A. Okay. All right, so you do almost exactly the same thing, right, and then you do myfile.write, and then whatever it is that you want to write on that line. Okay. And then the with statement again will take care of closing the file, so you don't have to actually do this part. Okay. It takes care of it for you. This is a lot better. All right, and so let's take a look. All right, so write file example .py. All right, here in this program, right, we open some file, write some text.txt. Right here, we're opening for writing. If you look over here, you can see there is no file called write some text. So in this case, it will create that file. Okay. So it's going to create that file, and we'll see it pop up over here. It's going to write Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie in there. Okay. And then you can see the indented part is over with. So then it's going to close the file. All right. Here we're going to open it back up again, right? And since it's being opened up with the W, what we're going to see is that this Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie that were in there is not going to be in there anymore. It's going to get overwritten. Okay. And so the very first thing in the file will be Delta, Echo, and Foxtrot when we open it up. All right, so the file will get closed again. And then we'll open it back up again. And then in this case, we are appending, right? So we have the A there. So we'll see Golf Hotel in India will be added on to the end of the file. Okay. All right, so let's run this. All right, so over here, if we refresh, we can see there's the new file. And we can open it up and take a look at it by double clicking. You can see, sure enough, right, we had Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, Golf Hotel India, right? This this stuff does not appear because we closed the file, right? This indented block ended, so it closed it. We opened it back up with the W, so everything got overwritten in there. Now you can see that again. If I can go add some stuff here manually, save it. If I close it out, right, open it back up again, you can see it's still there. If I run this again, right, open this up, I guess I gotta close it back out, open it back up, and you can see all that stuff in there is gone. Okay, so it got overwritten. Okay, all right. Okay, and this example says write a program that reads text file emails in text.txt and extracts and writes all of the email addresses to a separate text file. Okay, so we've done the reading part basically, right? Where is that at? I'll find emails right here. So we've done the reading part, right? So we don't really have to do anything else with that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is read all of the emails into a list instead of printing them out, right? So here I'm going to have a list, and instead of printing out these things, I am going to append, right, word to the list, and just double check that. All right, so you can see I have a list of emails now. All right, and so what I want to do is open up a new file, emailsout.txt, and I want to open it for appending. Quote here. And I'm going to need a loop to do that, right? Because so I'm going to set up a loop, right, to go over this list emails for email and emails. Alpha.write email. You can see when I do this, it's going to basically jam them all together, which you probably don't want. All right, so here's emails out.txt. You can see, right, it has them all on one line. You might not want that, right? And so, but that's easy to fix because all you would have to do is, where is that at? All you would have to do is tack on a /n to that. Or it's probably better if you'd use a format string, but and you're going to see emails out. Let's see, can you just refresh that? No, I guess you got to close it out and open it back up. You can see it did append those things, right, on there after this line because we opened it for append. So close that out. If we delete it, and then run it again, you can see that's pretty much exactly what we want there. Okay. All right, so that's it for that example. All right, and that's it on this one.